What is good, everyone? Welcome back. I um I had a interesting thought today because the other day I made a post right in my group, and it was funny because the post had said you've always had the keys, you just forgot where you left them, and I've been thinking about that phrase a lot today, and a lot of people they forget that everything they need is actually inside of them, and it's easy to forget because the world around you it kind of clouds your mind a bit, which is never a good thing. But learning how to block out all that noise and really listen to yourself and, talk yourself through any of the issues you might be having or the situations that you're in, it's honestly the best cure for it, I think. Because people are always looking for things outside of themselves, or they're constantly looking for help from other people, which isn't always a bad thing. But at the same time, other people have a tendency to project their own feelings onto you, their own opinions, or even their own insecurities. And it is very hard to, I want to say, discern uh, what is someone else's projection and if they are actually trying to help you or if they're actually trying to give you constructive criticism. You know what I mean? Because not everybody is always looking out for you. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Especially, you know, a lot of the times it's your friends, it's your family, and it's usually the people closest to you will screw you over the most. And it sucks to say, but it is the truth. So, the point of what I'm trying to say is learn to listen to your own intuition, use your discernment to guide you pretty much. I let my intuition tell me everything for the most part. And yeah, that doesn't mean I'm always right, but even when I'm wrong, I'd rather be wrong following uh, my own heart and my own mind than being wrong because somebody else sent me down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's all a learning process. But, as you keep doing it, you tend to get better at it, I think. um, I know I have. Although, like I said, I'm never going to know everything. I'm never going to have all the answers. Nobody was ever meant to. But I do know one thing, that I have stopped letting other people's opinions and what is clearly their emotions being projected outward. I've stopped letting all of that get to me. I know who I am inside. I know what I'm all about. So it doesn't matter what anyone else has to say. So sorry if that hurts your feelings, but not my problem. But yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about that post a lot today because maybe I was having some doubtful thoughts. Because sometimes I'm not sure what my next move is gonna be, and at the same time, I know exactly what my next move is gonna be. It's a paradox, like you know the answers that you're looking for already. You say them to yourself, but then also those little specks of doubt come in, like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure? And yeah, I've started to tell myself, yeah, I am sure. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. At least I followed my heart. You know what I mean? So far, everything seems to be working out. And I'm just grateful and happy for it. Um, it makes me sad at times because, well, it makes me sad talking about it at times because I know there's a lot of people out there that things are not going too well, you know, and I went through that my whole life. It felt like my entire life was just one big fucked up mess all the time. Even when I would be putting in all the work and trying to do all the right things and trying to be there for the people I care about, it was like everything would just always fall the fuck apart. And I never understood why, but I also wasn't living in my truth, I guess you could say. I've never hid who I was or anything. Like, I've always just been me. But I think my biggest issue was doubt my whole life. I always doubted that I wouldn't be able to do certain things. I always doubted, like, my plan. And a lot of that was projected onto me from my parents. They made me doubt myself a lot. And they were actually the only people that really got to me mentally. But not to get into all that, because that's not what this video is about. Uh, maybe I'll talk about that more one day if people want me to. I guess you got to comment below and, tell me what kinds of things you would like to hear. If you'd like to hear more about me and my life or the things I've gone to that have gotten me to this point, I have no problem doing that. I would also like to hear more about everybody's story, like everybody that's watching this. I'd like to know more about you all, and I'd like for this to be a place where people can really share who they are, their past experiences, the things that make you you. So maybe I'll start doing videos where that'll be the topic, or, different videos that have different topics and people can chime in the comments. I haven't really been putting too much focus on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of things going on right now. And being an influencer is just not something I've ever wanted. Or being a YouTuber. The YouTube channel was kind of just a way for me to show people what's possible and show people that you can literally come from anything and get to where you want, even when you are living on the street, like you can literally pull yourself out of any dark place you're in. You can pull yourself out of hell multiple times if you have to, but it is possible. So that's pretty much what my YouTube channel was always about. And a few years back, when I had when I had gotten clean off of substances, because I was doing a really bad one, and I had done a few throughout my life, but this one was like the killer of all killers to a lot of people. But I had stopped doing it, and then I wanted to make a YouTube channel, talking about it, and then I wanted to get other people on my channel with me and, hear their stories, people that went through it and came out the other side. And that YouTube channel never really went anywhere because, again, I had gotten to a good place for myself and I had all these plans of things that I wanted to do, and then my life exploded all over again. After going through all that and starting to feel like myself again, everything just fell apart. And I'm starting to realize that's kind of the name of the game that's been happening to a lot of us. It was all engineered to be that way. And those of you that it's happening to, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't even need to get into that. But, when it comes to the collective and the things that have been forced onto us, I'm actually very proud of a lot of you, because just like with me, it doesn't seem to have really broken you. If anything, it made you stronger and it made you live in your truth even more. So it was kind of like a huge backfire on their part, right? But yeah, I don't know. I will say I'm very happy with the way my life is at the moment. I'm very happy with the direction that it's going in. And, I take everything as a lesson to be learned, or an experience to be experienced, even the bad things. And somehow I've gotten to a point where even when I'm surrounded by chaos, I'm still so happy. And I always see the good or the lesson in it all, like there's a reason for everything, and I've always said that. But yeah, and I always see every situation and every moment in life like, okay, I have to look for what is the reason that I'm here? What is the reason this is happening, right? So, like, even now, this place that I'm in, the my second volunteer spot, it has been an amazing opportunity for me to really stay active all day long. I'm doing all kinds of manual labor all day, and it's good for my body because before Chicago, I was living in New Hampshire for a few months, and I was up in the mountains, and the wintertime was really brutal. So a lot of the time I was spending in the house, and I was starting to gain weight and stuff. I was in hibernation mode, I felt like a bear. But I'm more like a mountain lion, seeing as I'm a Leo. But yeah, uh, so I saw that period of time like, okay, maybe the universe is telling me I need to really rest, rest and use that rest time to focus on some of the things that I wanted to build for myself, which I did. And, I ended up signing up for college before I was there, and I was still homeless on the street. But I signed up for college, and my college classes really kicked in once I was there at that spot. So I feel like that time was for me to rest and also get back into the flow of school, because I hadn't been in school in like 18 years, and somehow I was just getting straight A's, like A after A after A, and I'm like, wow, I forgot how easy school is. But last term, that didn't happen. Last term, for some reason, when it came closer to the time for me to take off to Chicago, and then like the first week or two of me in Chicago, like the transition threw me off academically, like really bad. I wasn't focusing. I was kind of on autopilot for my school assignments and stuff. So yeah, my grades dropped a little bit. And then now in the next term, everything's back to straight A's. So I think I definitely got to learn how to balance that a little bit. But yeah, again, so you literally are able to do anything you want. Like, I signed up for school living outside. I got accepted to school. Um, I have the academic advisor that signed me up wants to get me on the website for school and my story and everything, because she knew everything I was going through. And even in the first conversation, when she was trying to sign me up for school, me and her ended up on the phone for like 2 hours. She is like one of my best friends, even though I've never fucking met her. And yeah, it was crazy because she's like inviting me out to where she lives and all this stuff. And yeah, she was amazing. Nice little southern woman from Mississippi. She's so awesome. But yeah, shit, I just forgot what I was talking about. I just started thinking about her. But yeah, so um again, anything you really want, like, you just have to want it bad enough. Like, ask yourself, how bad do I really want this? What am I willing to do to make it happen? And am I just gonna give up, if I feel like it's too hard? Which the answer should be no to that one. Like, if you're just gonna give up on something, what the fuck is the point of starting in the first place? You know what I mean? So, stay committed, especially if you're looking to make a change in yourself and who you are and the way you're living life. If you don't stay committed to it, how is it ever going to change? And you have to break out of the cycle of expecting instant gratification, because nothing happens right away. That's just not how life is. So, be patient, stay consistent, stay committed, and just don't stop trying, Even if you fail at something, failing is not the same as giving up. So if you fail at something, try again. Or, all you got to do is adjust, adapt, and course correct. And that is it. If something's not working out, oh, excuse me, that's confirmation right there. But no, if something's not working out, find a different way to make it work. You know, like if you give up on something that you want just because it's not happening the way you want it to, it's never gonna happen. So just stay strong, keep fighting. You know, don't give up, no matter what happens. And if you come to a point where you're like, I want to stop this because it's not what I want anymore, that's different. That's also not giving up. That's changing your mind, which you are allowed to want whatever the fuck you want. So you can change your mind whenever. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to close this out because I feel like I'm getting repetitive. And I've had a really, really long day of working on the property. And every muscle in my body is burning. And the other night when I was having a fire outside, the mosquitoes ate up my legs so bad, so they're driving me nuts right now. But yeah, I love you guys. Keep fighting, keep pushing forward, and never give up on your dreams. Bye.